All right, welcome back. We're here for another set of reviews. I'm Kevin.
I'm Don.
And this is Dad's book reviews because my dad reads a lot of books and I like to hear the reviews and hear which ones are 9s and 10s and read some of them. So hopefully you'll get something out of what we have to share. How many books do we have?
We've got 4 books this month.
Okay.
Final book is Reborn Apocalypse by L.M. Kerr. The series type is Isekai Lit RPG Fantasy. 4 books in the series. It's not finished yet. And the books change in length from 500 to 1,000 pages.
That's a big jump.
So you get all different lengths of books in this. 10,000 people go missing from Earth. No one knows what happened.
All at once?
All at once. They just disappear. It's from all over. It's not any one nation. It's just from all over Earth. A month later, 100,000 people go missing the same way. And now panic started to set in. And a month later, 1 million people go missing. And now we've got real panic and people wondering what's going on. How do we stop it? It's affecting everything because you can't take that many people out of society without making some effect there. A month later, Michael Kerr finds himself as a part of 1 billion people that go missing in what they call the 4th wave. And he ends up on the first layer of mystical worlds. There are 7 layers in the mystical worlds. They are designed to make humanity strong enough to survive. This first layer is horrific in that it's a city with tall buildings, and the people are in the buildings or on top of them, and the monsters are down in the street, wandering everywhere. And if they see you, they immediately attack. They look humanoid, but they're bigger, and they have no eyes. They have features of a human, but no eyes, big claws, and they use those to kill people. People get killed right and left, trying to figure out, I'm supposed to fight these things?
So do the people that appear, do they appear in the towers, in the buildings, or they appear in
They appear somewhere in the buildings. The monsters don't stay off the buildings. They're mostly on the ground, but you make enough noise, and the monsters will climb the side of the building to get to you. Or they'll get up there and just wander around every once in a while. And then you got to kill them or go into the building and hide until, these are high-rise buildings, 22 floors, with apartments all the way down. But you get gangs and you get clans and you get groups that cause real problems. There are 7 layers, and every one of these layers is different than the last one, completely different. Once you go up a layer, it's almost impossible to go back down. If you go up before you're strong enough to meet the challenges on the next layer, you're in trouble.
Does everybody start at layer 1?
Everyone starts in layer 1 at level 0. And they have to fight these monsters to get stronger. The problem is they really don't have a lot of ways to fight the monsters. They can buy things from the kiosk that will give them any kind of weapons they want, but they have to pay for it with points, which they get from killing monsters. And it turns out that even though there was a month between the waves of people coming in this other world, there's a year between them. And so the first 10,000 people had a year to try and figure this out. And the next group, so the people coming in with the same group as Michael came in have been there 3 years. It goes through all 7 layers. Humanity gets to the 7th layer and finds out that they haven't progressed enough to survive on the 7th layer. They're just wiped out on the 7th layer by other civilizations that are also being tested at the same time. There are 4 different civilizations, and one of them is humanity. And they just literally get wiped out. Michael makes it to that last group 10 years from the time that he went in. and gets killed in that last group. But because of a magical artifact that he picked up somewhere along the way, his memories of everything get transported back into his body before the system came. And so now we have someone who's been through 10 years of what this was like and known the failure of it and known all the things that went wrong that killed billions of people and all of the bad actors that prevented humanity from getting together and figuring this out and making everyone strong. He knows what to avoid and what to make happen and how to get stronger than. And so now he's back in this body and he's going to try and do it right. And he's going to try and do it in a way that he brings everyone else with him. He can remember for the first 3 levels who the bad actors are, and I can get rid of them. And you remember what caused the major problems, and we can avoid those if I can bring enough people along with me to understand the problems and solve them. And so that's his goal. The question is whether he can do it. It was a fun book. I enjoyed this one. He's got a task set out for himself. He's got willpower that just won't quit. He determined, I am going to do this. I'm going to solve it, even though he runs up against some major problems. He makes friends that help him out. He makes enemies that try and kill him all the way along, but he has some success. And he finds out that when he has success, that he changes the timeline that he learned in the first time around. So if I kill this guy, that doesn't happen. Something else happens. And so suddenly he's dealing with things that aren't happening the same way they did the first time around. And it was fascinating. I gave it a 10. Excellent. I highly recommend it. It's violent incidents of high intensity, light use of mild profanity, sexual tension, or sex implied. There's no descriptive stuff. And I rated it for teens.
Hey, in the beginning of the story, do you spend time with him going through the first 7 levels? You said he goes through 7 levels and then gets warped back 10 years or something like that.
You don't go through anything with him the first time.
Okay.
You die with him after his 10 years in the book.
Seems like we've had a couple books that we've reviewed that are similar to this kind of time frame where it didn't go so well the first time, but we get a second chance.
We get a second chance. I can think of 2 that we've reviewed.
How would you compare it to those?
I like those.
They're all good?
They're good. That's my type of story.
I'm curious, how does a high violence differ from a very bloody?
High violence, there are people getting killed, and sometimes you tromp through the entrails and the gore and stuff like that. But violent bloody is usually person on person and very detailed description of how you killed that person.
Okay.
Very intimate, detailed. I stabbed him in the guts and his innards fell out and I stuck a sword through his eye. That kind of stuff.
That's 4 books. Another 4 books for March. Hopefully you'll find something you want to read.
There were some good ones in here. I think you'll enjoy them.
We're curious to hear your opinions if you read one of these, and let us know.
Appreciate your comments.
What do you think? All right.
Good reading.